welcome to the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. I am Spencer. I'm one of your hosts, and what a joy it is to be here with the other members of the League of Melanated Gentlemen who have come here today to give you yet another review.
This is Worldwide Willis.
And this is Not So Worldwide, Jordan.
Thought I'd be consistent with, the other podcasts and whatnot. But
Great segue. You want to talk about it?
Sure. Jordan, you can plug all our other beautiful social medias.
But yeah, we'll start out with social media, then we'll get to the other things that we offer. So follow us on Facebook at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. There's a Facebook group. We are all in there. We're always talking with the people. We love interacting. So be sure and join that Facebook group. That's the biggest thing that we like to push. We also like to push to Twitter. We need these followers up.
Mm-hmm.
Elon, if you're out there listening, you can drop us a follow too, at the LMG podcast. That'd be wild if he retweeted us. That'd be crazy. But we are also on there. Episodes also upload onto our YouTube at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. So like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's all the places that you can find us. Also, don't forget to rate and review us on whatever streaming platform that you use to listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or any other one that's out there. Be sure and do that. And then scheduling, upcoming episodes. So on Mondays, the League of Melanated Gentlemen, these episodes drop on Mondays. On Wednesdays, we have wrestling. We have wrestling with Worldwide Willis, which is Brandon's wrestling podcast. He's always doing his top 5, reviewing the latest events that's going on in the world of wrestling. And then whether that's AEW, WWE.
Hey, look at you.
Like NWO. Like, I was playing. Yeah, so we have that every Wednesday. And then also this upcoming Friday, Spencer has a brand new episode of DC animation with Spencer and friends. Spencer, what movie will be reviewed?
This will be episode 9. It'll be Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
So Superman, Batman, Apocalypse should be a good time. So now that we told you today is Monday, watch the movie, and then you can go and listen and be prepared for it on Friday. So yeah, those episodes upload every other Friday. Is that everything?
Good work.
I do believe. And now it is time for the spoiler warning. So let's go ahead and run that. Listen to these words, for they may determine your next course of action. This is your official name brand League of Melanated Gentlemen spoiler warning. We are issuing this spoiler warning not only for the piece of media or content that is in the title of this episode, but also for the world or the universe in which that piece of media or content exists. If you are not caught up, I would highly recommend you pause my voice, you catch yourself up, and then you join us once again. If you are all the way caught up, and or if spoilers do not offend you, please enjoy. And now that that is out of the way, it is time to begin with our review for Flash, or The Flash. The Flash?
Yeah,
The Flash, I think.
The Flash. Cool. I will be reading a synopsis in my own words, and then we're going to talk about it. So, we open with Barry getting the shakes because his blood sugar is low. He is trying to order breakfast when he gets a call from Alfred that a robbery has taken place and a hospital is collapsing. After successfully saving a bunch of babies, Flash gets a call from his dad, who has been locked up because the authorities believe that he killed Barry's mother. Barry visits his childhood home and relives the death of his mom, so he does what he does best. He runs. He accidentally runs himself into the past, and he has a talk with Bruce Wayne about what happened. Bruce warns Barry about the dangers of time travel, but Barry doesn't listen, and he goes back to save his mother from dying in a way that he assumes won't change anything because he doesn't interact with anyone. While Barry is trying to return to his own time, he gets punched out of the Speed Force and ends up in an alternate version of Year of Our Lord 2013. He reunites with his parents, but that reunion is cut short when he sees himself at that age. I will now differentiate the two Barrys with Barry and young Barry. Barry realizes that he landed on the day that he got his powers. So he needs to take young Barry to make sure that he, in fact, gets those powers. The lightning strikes and young Barry has powers, but Barry loses his powers. Barry is trying to teach young Barry how the powers work, but he's a little difficult to train. Then Zod shows up, and he shows up on the TV, and he says, Earth, I know you have the Kryptonian that I want, and Zod lets them know he's on his way. Barry figures he can get the Justice League together to take care of the Zod problem. So he gets on the Google, and he starts trying to find everyone. Victor Stone isn't Cyborg, Arthur was never born, and Diana is MIA. So he heads to the Wayne Manor to find an older alternate version of Bruce Wayne who has left crime fighting behind him. He explains time travel using spaghetti, and then the Barrys go down to the Batcave because Batman has a computer that can find G14 classified stuff, unlike the Google. They are able to find where the Kryptonian pod landed, which is in Russia. So they run the mission to go get Clark to help with the Zod problem. When they arrive, they see that it is not Kal-El, but instead Kara Zor-El. Even though that is not who they were looking for, they decide to break her out, and once she is exposed to sunlight, she starts going to work on the Russian hench people, and so they escape. After rescuing Kara, she decides, fuck humans, because when I arrived, they put me in a red sunroom, and she leaves. Barry asks Batman to help recreate the accident that gave him powers. On the first attempt, Barry almost dies, but Kara comes back, takes him up into the sky so that he can get struck by lightning a second time, which revives him and gives him his powers back. The four of them go out to fight Zod and his army. During the fight, Kara learns that the codex needed to rebuild Krypton is within her. Zod knows that because he found baby Kal-El and killed him trying to extract the codex from him. Enraged, she attacks Zod but ultimately dies and gets her blood taken out in the name of Krypton. Bruce also dies trying to fly his plane into Zod's ship. Young Barry figures, I'll just go back in time and stop this from happening. So both Barrys travel back in time, but they are unable to stop the death of Kara and Batman. Barry realizes this, but young Barry keeps trying. As young Barry keeps doing this, the universes start colliding and collapsing. Eventually, we will see the person that originally knocked Barry out of the Speed Force, and we come to find out that it is none other than an older version of young Barry, who I will now be referring to as Dark Barry. He still believes that he can save Kara and Batman while stopping Zod. The paradox created is that Dark Barry knocked Barry into 2013 so that he could give young Barry powers so that Dark Barry could exist. Retrocausality and whatnot. Barry intends to allow his mother to die, understanding that it's just one of those things that has to happen. Dark Barry doesn't want this to happen, of course, so he tries to kill Barry, but young Barry gets in the way, sacrificing himself, which causes Dark Barry to disappear because he kills young Barry, meaning he no longer exists. Barry has one last conversation with his mother and undoes what he did to stop his mother's death so that it can still happen. He does make one change, though, and this change that he makes allows Barry's father to get out of jail. Barry walks out of the courthouse and meets Bruce, but it's a different Bruce because of the change that Barry made in the past. Credits. In the after credits scene, Barry recounts his adventures to a super drunk Aquaman. black screen.
Good job, man.
Outstanding.
Once again,
Outstanding.
knocked it out the park.
You should have maybe like got a like teaching degree or something to where you can like easily explain difficult things.
You know, that's it's so funny you say that. That whole retro causality thing. Like I think you may have talked something up.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, I'm sure there are a lot of things to cover here. Let's do ratings and opening remarks. Because we got to give a pre-rate, we got to give a post-rate. Brandon, I think you should go first.
Okay. Appreciate going first. First, my rating. I will give this movie a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It has its flaws, but I enjoyed it. I made me laugh a lot, which I was not expecting. I really enjoyed Barry in this movie way more than I did in Justice League, which I wasn't expecting. I did not like that version of Barry in the Justice League. So even Snyder Cut was a little better. Obviously, the ending was nice in Snyder Cut, but I thought they did a really good job of telling the story. I thought they did that opening scene, like they jumped right into it. I love the whole like he has to eat a lot because he's always burning calories. The slow-mo scene and everything, that was great. I thought both Batmans were a standout in this. Again, I will always be on that train that Ben Affleck was our best Batman. I'll keep rolling with that because he gave us another fire action scene. But overall, thought it was solid. Like I thought it was above average. Right? It was there were some CGI choices that I thought were a little odd.
Yeah, I've seen the comments they made after the movie was released.
Yeah, they said it was on purpose. It was like some of that stuff was not on purpose.
Yeah,
it was a few of those that was like that could have that's rough. That's still raw out the kitchen. And I thought they did a good job of keeping Batman true to his roots. Like if you watched Batman in 1989, his like mannerisms obviously is still Michael Keaton. They like kept it the same. The theme was beautiful. That's obviously what we got the inspiration of the Batman animated series theme. But my biggest flaw with this was the third act was a little all over the place. I wasn't a fan of the whole like timeline dome stadium thing. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. I thought there was an easier way to like explain it, what the visual was for the Speed Force and the timeline. And then also we needed more of a definitive explanation of like, is the timeline reset? Is it not reset? You know, like
I
the
agree.
ramifications.
That was my biggest question too.
Yeah, it was just like, what? Okay, where it felt like an incomplete sentence. Like I was like, okay, where are we ending at? But overall, I enjoyed it, and I give it a 7 out of 10.
Jordan?
Let me start by saying that this is my first DC movie in theaters. Like,
God damn it.
That's sad, man. That really is sad.
No, it's not. I mean, it is sad,
crazy.
but it's not your first. Yeah, okay. We know.
Yeah, there's this. Oh, wait. No,
Did you see Black Adam?
No, I didn't see Black Adam. Wonder Woman was my first. This is my second.
I say it's not your first.
Yeah, really.
I thought that was just a running thing we're doing every time it's a DC.
No, I legit forgot. Like I must forget every single time.
Jesus, every single time.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Rita Rasputa.
Yeah, anyway, that's like the running gag.
Yeah. Anyway, though, my initial rating, actually, walking out theater, I gave it a 7.5. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was. I thought this portrayal of Barry Allen, I thought it was pretty good. Like for all the stuff that Ezra is going through, mind you, I don't condone any of it, but I mean, to try to separate this character from the actor, this was a really good portrayal. And I think also it was like, for me, I thought Flash was like a little more cocky and like does a lot more jokes. So to kind of see this Flash is like almost like antisocial a little bit. Like I feel like it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm just so used to the Flash, like in the animated movies and how he is in those. CGI as well, it was definitely a little rough. The whole scene with all the babies and all that, I was like, that looks really bad. Story wise, I will say I didn't mind the whole in the dimension thing, like seeing the little worlds collide and all that. I didn't know that was supposed to be the Speed Force though. That was my biggest thing. I thought it was just like I don't even know what I thought it was. I didn't realize he was in the Speed Force. But I kind of like the way they portrayed it, like with him running backwards. You can see all the memories and everything, disappearing. I will say they missed an opportunity to do Reverse Flash. We can talk about it a little bit more, but I thought that's where they were about to head. Overall, yeah, I agree. Like the third act, it was a little rough for sure. But overall, I mean, I had a really good time with the movie. I did not understand the end credit scene. I guess it was just a fun end credit scene. I thought it was going to be lead to something else.
Right.
But yeah, I came out of that thing lost. Like, what happened? But yeah, overall, I had a good time with the movie though. Did not expect to, but it was really good. What about you, Spencer?
Rating out the door, 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad. I agree, generally speaking. The CGI could have used some cleaning up. I have watched a lot of the Flash TV show,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
CW one, and the CGI in that isn't great, but that's because it's a TV show, so I don't
Right.
expect great CGI. But a lot of this CGI felt like that,
Bro, I thought the same thing when I was watching it in the theater.
and I was like, we WB should have poured just a little. And the CGI, to me, it looked like it got better as the movie went on, because I remember the CGI in the beginning just being real rough.
Yeah.
And then it got better as the movie went on. At least it felt like it did. Because the Kara CGI was pretty good. Like, I don't remember her CGI just being terrible. Like, and
Right.
the Zod stuff and his people, the CGI there was good. But yeah, like the CGI with the hospital,
That was rough.
it looked like two different departments handled CGI in the beginning and then CGI whenever he gets to the past.
Yeah.
And I also really liked the running backwards thing. Like that was one of the things that I really liked. I was not a big fan of like the way he would run and like the pose he had to strike before.
The very first time he posed, I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
The very first time he did it, I was like, okay, that's fine. But he kept doing it. And I was like, God, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Also,
it was funny. It was funny whenever he tried to be fast and wasn't.
Oh, yeah. That's when I was over. I was like, okay, all right, you paid it off.
Yeah,
you knew people were gonna have jokes for his running style, and you pay. Okay, that's when I was like, all right, cool.
That's when I was like, okay, this is fine now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
I really hoped that they would do that. I will say, yeah, this is very much a separating the art from the individual situation, because I really enjoyed the character that we saw in this movie. Okay. Yeah, that opening CGI was rough. I will say, and we will talk about this later, but y'all know that I'm against remakes of animated films, generally speaking. And while this is not what that was, it felt like this is what that was, just because there is a superior animated film that tells the same story. And I will discuss that later in DC Animation with Spencer and Friends. Now, I am able to separate that movie from this one, and I rated it on its own merits, but I would like the record to show that there is a superior animated film that tells this story.
Spencer on his animated agenda. I like it.
I mean, that's true.
No, it's facts. It is true.
Yeah.
Like that the animated version is one of my favorite DC things. Like, it's very good. And yeah, this was just a lesser version of that. So let's talk about a couple things. Brandon, you made a comment about Ben Affleck. Could you make sure the people heard you say that?
Absolutely. For those that didn't hear me the first time, Ben Affleck, Batfleck, is the best Batman we've ever had. He takes all the boxes. He gives you the actions, the gadgets. The scene in Batman vs Superman, one of the greatest Batman action scenes we've ever seen. In this movie, killed it with the motorcycle stunt scene. Amazing. Also gives you the swag you need for Bruce Wayne. When he was sitting there talking, like, that felt like Bruce Wayne. That felt like a dude who was on his way to a party for a Wayne Industries fundraiser or some shit. You know what I mean? He was going to woo Diana, like all of that. We haven't had that. We've always had a good Batman and a terrible Bruce Wayne, or vice versa. In this case, again, Ben Affleck, every time he puts on the cape, kills it every time.
You mean that CGI cape? Because I noticed on that scene too, that cape was kind of rough.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
now I agree. As far as live action goes,
yeah,
I have said on the record, Ben Affleck is my favorite live action Batman. Like he does, and we have not gotten enough of him.
Bro,
and we're not going to.
I know. Every time I'm like, fumbled the bag. That should have been that should have been an easy, give him a solo movie. Even if you don't go anything further with it, just do it Elseworlds with him. Like, I don't know, but
yeah, we saw. That's the thing. We saw not all, but we saw a bunch of different versions of Superman that have happened. Yeah, and a version that didn't.
Yeah, dude, that Nicolas Cage one was nice.
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
One thing that did happen, all of the things that were supposed to be a surprise, I was able to predict when they happened.
Yeah.
Because whenever I saw a long-haired Superman lasering a spider, I was like, that's going to be Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, same.
And it was.
I had no idea. That was nice.
Whenever we find out who Dark Barry was, I knew it was going to be Barry.
Right.
And they foreshadowed that because whenever he got the Kryptonian spike in his arm,
yeah,
that's when I knew.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Now, one thing that may have helped with that, in the Flash show, one of the main villains that we see, I believe in season 3, is Savitar. And Savitar is a dark future version of Barry. And I guess that's what they were going for here.
I think so. I know when I first saw him, I was like, that's Savitar. But then I was like, and then we got more details on the face, and I was like, maybe not, but I still thought it was maybe Barry, just maybe not Savitar on the nose. Wasn't sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I had not heard of Savitar until Larry and I watched the 3rd season of The Flash. I didn't know who that was, or I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that it was Barry, I was like, oh, all right, cool.
I thought young Barry was about to be, when they were both arguing inside the Time Force. What did I say? Time Force?
Mm-hmm.
Speed Force. I thought young Barry was about to turn into Reverse Flash. I thought he was just going to hop off the timeline and become his own thing.
Let's talk about that right now. That is one of the biggest disappointments to me, is that Eobard was not in this at all.
Right. Because how do you do a Flashpoint and then there's no Reverse
Flash?
I
don't know. I wasn't as mad. To me, this isn't Flashpoint to me. This is totally they added.
I agree. I think Flashpoint was not needed.
Yeah, they added that as a little thing, but to me, yeah, it's not even I don't know. To me, they added his ability to go and change time, but they just took that from that. They didn't take the actual story of Flashpoint Paradox.
This was loose. It was very loose because in Flashpoint, the reason that he goes back is to stop his mother from dying. In Flashpoint, he does lose his powers and have to replicate the accident to get them, and he has an old Batman's help to do that.
Right.
In Flashpoint, there is a super person that was captured by the military and suppressed, basically. Yeah. So they took a lot of pieces from Flashpoint, which is why I would say that this was primarily, or Flashpoint was the main source as far as, and so this was a Flashpoint story, and it just wasn't.
I also thought Michael Keaton was about to be Thomas Wayne. Like when he kept calling Bruce, I thought he was gonna be like, "There's no Bruce here. I'm Thomas." Like, how do you know Bruce? Like, I thought that was gonna be what that was too.
Well, and in Flashpoint, that would have been the case. Now, if it had been Jeffrey Dean Morgan instead of Michael Keaton, that's absolutely what would it have been. Yeah. But because they went with Michael Keaton, they wanted to hit you with the nostalgia as opposed to going to a more authentic version of Flashpoint, which I'm not necessarily mad about that specifically. But yeah, and I will say whenever he was on the phone at the end, and when Bruce Wayne called him and he was on the phone, I knew that was George Clooney. Now, I had
no clue. No.
My cousin Edwin, shout out to him. He was like, I bet George Clooney's in this movie before we saw Keaton. Yeah, and he was joking. Like, he was not serious, but yeah, he said, what if it's George Clooney? And I was like, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, we already know Michael Keaton is in this movie. But when he was on the phone, I heard the voice. I was like, that sounds like George Clooney to me.
Yeah.
And then when it was George Clooney, I was like, yep, it sounded like George Clooney on the phone.
That one got me.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the ending a little bit later because I definitely was lost. What did y'all? I did not know Wonder Woman was going to be in this movie either.
I assumed she would.
I wasn't sure either. I wasn't sure.
I assumed she would because she was in Shazam. And only because she was in Shazam, I figured she's going to make a cameo.
So she's just popping up in all these movies now.
That's what, is she going to be Wonder Woman anymore? I don't know. Because she's pretty synonymous with Wonder Woman at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, what is there are a lot of unanswered questions. One of the things that pissed me off, along with, the Reverse Flash being nowhere, we don't know who killed Barry's mother.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Like, why did the dad even get set up for it? It's like, it made no sense. Like, if he was there, he told Barry to call the police. Why would the police automatically come there and assume he killed her?
I mean,
they had no reason to believe, like, because if
person of interest.
Yeah, like in the actual story, it was a speedster who did it. So there was no evidence, and all they saw was this man holding this woman who has a knife in her. And he wasn't able to say, oh yeah, some guy came in lightning fast and stabbed her. And there was no way for him to cover himself. And so because he was the only one there,
in this movie they could have did it better.
But I mean, that's how it happened. Like,
I agree. It probably could have did. You could have did your little hint of Eobard, like a little flash through. Somebody goes. You don't even need to see him. You can just see a speedster goes in, goes out, yellow color or whatever, and then that's it. But like to have it to where we don't actually see the crime or don't see really anything, it was kind of like,
no, okay. we just don't. We have no idea. Like,
yeah, literally, we get more view of the store than we get of anything happening in the house at that time.
Yeah.
So
now, one thing that I did like, just going to the earlier parts of the movie, I really liked, because we've seen Batman in blue and gray a lot from like animated stuff, but we had never seen it.
Right.
And Ben Affleck showed us a Batman in the blue and gray, which a lot of people recognize as Batman.
Yep.
And I really appreciated that they did that. Yeah, like it looked really good.
It really did. Like from the moment he hopped out at that hover, whatever that ship was, and the motorcycle. I was like, damn, like, all right, he just stole the show.
Oh yeah, I will say the Dark Knight motorcycle was a better motorcycle, but
I agree.
I
think I might like this one a little bit more. I might need to see it again.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that Dark Knight motorcycle was too much.
It was tough. I didn't like. It was something about the Dark Knight I didn't like about that one. It was whether it's the wheels turning around or something. I don't remember.
That's what I did like. Like that's what made it really nice to me. Was like those wheels could move in 4 dimensions almost.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. But
and like the streets was just wide open for in Nolan's movies. Like nobody was driving. Like the streets was just. Where here it was like, okay, I dodge a couple of people.
Yeah, there's traffic.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense.
Stuff.
Yeah,
moving.
I think I like this motorcycle a little bit more. The one in Dark Knight kind of reminds me like a speed racer in like a Star Wars universe or something.
Pod racer, yeah. I can see that.
I thought the Flash in the beginning running, like him actually speeding up running, I thought that looked good. Like I think they did a good job with that. Like him just flashing through everything.
I thought it was good. Low key was like, did they just copy and paste this from the CW? Because it looked exactly like that.
It looked exactly like the CW. Yeah.
It was probably like a more like clean version, but that's literally the run style. All of it is the
same. And it was only a tiny bit cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like a clear distinction.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of when he was running, just because. Yeah, like he was moving fast but running slow. And
bro, when I saw that, I thought Switch ain't gonna like that.
It looks so fucking stupid. Like,
I know
what are we doing?
I guess I didn't mind. I didn't like his arms though. The motion of his arms.
Yeah, the swimming.
Yeah, and again, I'm really glad they made fun of it. Like, I'm so
That's the
glad.
Only thing that saved it. If they would have never addressed it, I would have had a major issue with that.
Yes, I agree. Like the fact that they came back and he was like, "I'm slow." I was like, "Okay,
bro." He was running in a circle. Yeah, I was dying.
It was so stupid, and I was like, "This is what we needed."
Also, it was really cool with him phasing through the wall too.
Yeah, I like how
they showed his molecule. Yeah, they showed his molecules like going through. That was good.
That's probably the best visual we've seen of it, honestly. Because even in the TV show. They talk about it, and he talks about his powers and how he does it, but they didn't. That's a really way better explanation of it.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, and throws up too. That's funny.
Another thing, I thought that we were. I did think I agree with Jordan. I did initially. I thought that they were going to like lean him into becoming the Reverse Flash, for a couple reasons. One, they had different color lightning.
Yeah, they did.
I thought that was like a very clear, like separating the two. Mm-hmm. And whenever he, made he made a suit out of the Batman suit.
Yeah.
There was still some black on it.
Yeah.
And in the show, in the CW show, that Reverse Flash has a lot of black in his suit.
Right.
Now, in the comic books and all the other stuff that we see Reverse Flash in, his suit is like all the way yellow, but in that show it was yellow and black, like it was half yellow and half black. And so I thought that we were gearing up for him to be the Reverse Flash, but the fact that we just never got one at all, I didn't like that. But
and he was getting super angry too.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like he was exhibiting like, like they kind of led us in that direction, because whenever he was like, "No, I'll do it," like when he was getting, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's where we're going." Because initially, my first thought was that the person who was trying to get him was the Black Racer, and I was like, I'm surprised that the Black Racer's already here, but that's fine. It ended up not being that. But anyway, I think that it was also funny that in this movie, they pretty much shit on Marvel's explanation of time travel.
When?
Michael Keaton was talking about it.
Yeah, when Michael Keaton was explaining it with the spaghetti.
Oh, okay. He's like, it's not like a linear point in time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like the way that he made it a point to say, "I bet this is how you thought it worked, didn't you?" Nope,
Yeah.
that's bullshit. And I was like, "Oh, you're just going just."
Oh, I didn't even grab it. I thought, it's funny. This is just I think reviewing this after we watched Spider-Man, only thing I kept thinking was this is a canon event. Like
Now,
that's a lot I've heard people say. Yeah.
I would like to also address that as well, because that's one of the things that I thought about while watching this. Is it me, or does Hollywood take an idea or a concept and we just start seeing it all over the place all at the same time? So the first time I noticed that was the year that Civil War came out, because in that year we had Civil War, we had Dawn of Justice, which was Batman fighting Superman. We had whichever Fast and Furious it was, which is where like Dom was going against the Squad. And so the theme that year was like splitting up good groups or making good guys go against each other. This year we see two movies that are released not too far from each other that are both heavily involved with time travel and the idea of these people have to die, and that is that's just how it goes. And yeah, you could go back and stop it, but that's going to destroy everything, so you can't. It's just got to happen that way. And it just makes me wonder if Hollywood just like takes an idea, or they like throw an idea out there and then they're like, all right, everybody do something with this. Because there was even one point where I swear in 1 month I saw 3 different like movies that were surrounded with, that was like black people and the police. There was a movie that had Tyrese and
I know you're talking
Naomi
about
in it. There was Queen and Slim. There was 21 Bridges. Like those 3 movies came out in like a month.
I mean, I think I definitely get what you're saying, because I feel like around 2010, everybody was focused on vampires. And then we moved on from vampires. And then about 2012, 2013,
There was a zombie
everybody's
section.
focused on zombie. Yeah.
And so it feels like Hollywood will be like, hey, this is the cool thing we're doing this year. And then everyone does it. Or there are just multiple movies that happen around the same time that do it. And the fact that, I mean, only 2 episodes ago, we reviewed a movie where they say to this superhero who has multiple versions of himself, there's this thing that happens and one of your parents dies and you just have to make peace with that and let it happen. And he's like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. So he tries to change it and it just fucks everything up. And of course, there are differences, but like that's the general theme that happened here. Just like in 2016, it was heroes going against each other that were previously a part of the same group.
These are just canon events, man. Just it has to happen in Hollywood.
But I thought the same thing. Like canon event was what was running through my head whenever it was the Flash's mom has to die. Like that's a canon event. Just like Bruce's parents have to die. That is a canon event. And the fact that we just saw a movie that gave that a word is what's leading me here. But I do wonder if Hollywood does that.
I think
possibly.
It does seem like a heavy coincidence that it seems to keep happening. Like this is not the first time we have an example of at least 2 movies that are from different studios that have a very similar through line.
Yeah. I want to say, I thought that was Tessa Thompson. I'm not even gonna lie.
They don't all look the same, Jordan.
Dude, they definitely almost look the same.
Tessa Thompson and her, I mean, I guess.
When I first saw her appear, I was like, wow, they got Tessa in this movie and in Marvel? Like I legit thought that was Tessa Thompson. And then I kept looking, I was like, oh, never mind, that's the girl from Dope. But I thought the same thing in Dope. I thought that was her too.
Okay. So she looks like Tessa Thompson to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At least you said it happened more than once, I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mistake her for Tessa Thompson.
I wasn't in love with her iris. I mean, she only had.
Yeah, so she didn't
really do nothing.
But I was just like, yeah, I don't know. Iris, I'm used to CW Iris. I'm sorry. Like,
And CW Iris,
yeah, she come on the screen, you're like, oh, okay. Like that's Iris. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just synonymous. Whereas this one is a first appearance, but it was just like, all right.
I mean,
And
we've seen her before, like a tiny bit. But
yeah, that's true.
yeah, this is the first time.
Oh, wait, what else was she in?
Justice League.
She was in the Snyder Cut.
Oh, I haven't seen Snyder Cut.
It's because it's 4 days long.
Yeah, that too.
It was pretty good though.
It was good, yeah.
And it added backstory to Barry Allen. I will say, like you guys mentioned, I really enjoyed Ezra Miller's performance in this. Obviously, we all put aside the off the court issues. But like you said, it is interesting to see like a very like shy, doesn't ask girls out, doesn't make moves on like I think that's what my issue with even like the Flash, the TV show. I was just used to Barry Allen being the guy who like always is hitting on Wonder Woman, always hitting on, a hot girl, always, you know what I mean?
Now the only thing there is in the Justice League show, that's Wally.
Oh yeah, that's right. But even I thought Barry Allen was always that way.
Well, yeah, and
same thing I thought too.
I'm used to Barry being more confident than that. And I knew this was going to be, I was pretty sure this was going to be a comedy. Like I knew from our previous seeings of Ezra Miller's Flash that like, that's the funny guy here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was pretty sure this was going to be a comedy. And I was worried because with how Shazam went, I wasn't sure if the comedy would land.
Yeah.
But I think that Ezra Miller did a good job with that as well.
I agree, because his character could get kind of old. It was a lot of Barry and Barry together, like Barry Young Barry. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So that could get old quick. And for the most part, I was fine with it. The Young Barry was pretty funny just because he was a dumbass, but
dude, the whole scene when like he first gets his powers and like he just goes out into the street and like just causes all that destruction within like a minute.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
That was funny when he was paced to the other apartment naked. Hilarious.
Yeah,
the fact that his clothes caught on fire, I was like, yes, this is like there were a lot of things in here that not all, but there were a lot of things in here that I didn't have to say that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna be on him about like Speed Force, like speeding, using the Speed Force to move a person from one place to another, and there being no ramifications for that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of there were a lot of things that I was able to make peace with, and there were a lot of things that I was like, okay, I'm glad that was handled or addressed. Because his clothes bursting in flames, like, yes, that is absolutely a thing that would happen. When he fell through the floor, but his robe didn't go with him.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's probably how that would go.
Yeah.
There were some things I was like, okay, I like this. Brandon, I thought of you. He did mention wrestling earlier.
Oh, didn't he? Entertainment something?
Yeah, he professional wrestling entertainment, or he
said something like that.
He said something like that, but then we came back to it whenever they were fighting the Kryptonian minions. Like he did a backbreaker.
I did see that. Throw up in the air, backbreaker.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh. He also drop kick somebody.
Yeah, he did a drop kick. That was I was like, I'm glad we brought that back in. And I
enjoyed. You see him doing his tornado thing too. Like that was cool to see too.
Yep.
Because like you don't get to see that a lot. I thought he was gonna do the one with his fist. So wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
Is the whole like putting his hands together electric thing? Is that a thing that Flash can do? Like when he put his hands together and like he shot all the built up energy out?
I have not. That was new to me. What I have seen Flash do is like do enough running where he can essentially like throw a bolt of lightning.
Yeah. I was gonna say I was thinking of which one it was. That's what I've seen as well. Because that was on a TV show.
Yeah, but I've never seen, and I thought the Star Wars reference was also funny. He was like, "Should I just like Emperor him?" In referring to Palpatine.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so the electric power, that was something new. Because the
That's
first
something
time
new.
we did it, I was like, it reminded me of the Black Panther suit. He was like, the build up and you got to release it.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's what I
Remember when
thought
they
of
did
too.
that.
Because whenever he just casually mentioned like, "Hey, your suit doesn't dissipate energy like mine, so you're gonna build it up," I was like, "Okay, he's gonna have to shoot lightning."
Yeah.
Whenever he said that, but the whole like put your hands together thing, I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
whatever, that's fine, I guess." But yeah, I was like, whatever.
What did you guys think of Supergirl?
That's what I was going to ask next. I didn't mind her. She seemed pretty dark too.
Yeah, I thought because whenever I was worried a little bit because whenever she basically was like, "I'm not human," and
She flew off.
I really don't
Yeah.
care. I thought she was going to be like, "Hey Zod, here I am.
Me too.
Let's do this."
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh, this world is going to die."
Yeah, I was like, they're gonna have to jump them. That's gonna be a 2-on-2 fight.
Yeah, like I thought she was going to help Zod.
I thought her heel turn was a little fast. She was like, "Oh, you're blowing up humans. All right, I'm gonna go back to the Flash." I was just like, "All right, it's a little fast here."
That is a good point. Why did she? Am I not remember? Why did she go back? Why did she go back to the Flash? Because I mean, she saw him doing like fighting humans, but
I thought she had super hearing, and she heard that Flash was like dying. And so, like,
you adding that to the story.
I know.
Yeah, you might be adding that.
No, you're right. I am. But in my head, that's why she came back, because
he's in trouble.
Yeah. That's why she.
But did they explain why? Because I mean, she literally just said she don't care about humans.
I think, yeah, like she watched Zod kill some people and then was like, "No." And then Zod laid eyes on her.
Yeah.
And then
that was it.
Like I
was wondering, I was like, you just see this, you came for a person with the S on their chest. You see there's someone in the air with the S on their chest, and that's it? Like, no, Zod, I know, would have been like,
Zod, go get her.
All hands on deck.
Handle that.
On her. Exactly.
There she is. Yeah, because I was surprised like that. Because in Man of Steel, they have like a conversation. Like he gets on the ship, he starts getting weak because he doesn't have powers on the ship and like all that. So I thought that she was going to go down there and like lightweight surrender.
Yeah.
And then the Flashes were going to show up and free. Like I thought we were going to get some of that. But the fact that she was seen and then she just
didn't do nothing.
Yeah, she just left. I was like, what okay. That's
Zod would have pulled up. So I would have let the chambers fly. Now I did like the fact that she did help Barry with the, go up in the sky and get hit by lightning.
So I took that as the reason it didn't work the first time is because basically they used artificial lightning to basically strike, because they used the conduit for Batman's kite thing. Mm-hmm. So the reason she took him up there was because he can get hit by real lightning. Am I reading too much into that, or he just had to get hit again?
I think it was just a second attempt.
Yeah, like in the Flashpoint, like in every version of Flashpoint that I've seen, like he has to get hit twice. Like the first time it doesn't work. Like he almost burns to a crisp and
dies. Damn near dies. Yeah,
and then he's like, "No, one more time." And Batman is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You should be dead." And he goes a second time, and then that's the one that revives him and all that. So like in every version of this, he has to get hit twice. We aren't really given a reason why the first one doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I think it's just just for story.
I think it's because the first one that hit him was so powerful. Because wasn't it because what's the city called that he's in?
Central City, and the superhuman thing, and I guess that thunder was so powerful that you need two to kind of equate to that. I don't know. I thought it was just like I said, a storytelling device, because the first time it was an accident, but the second time is you tried to play God.
Right. Yeah.
God was like, "Nah, I got something for you, buddy."
Yeah. Yeah. Give you a double.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Supergirl was solid. How'd you feel about Michael Keaton?
I thought Michael Keaton did a great job.
Yeah.
Like I
caught me off
enjoyed
guard that he wasn't like clean cut from the jump.
I guess I
Almost
wasn't
didn't-
super surprised by that.
I almost didn't recognize him either. I'm not even gonna lie. I almost didn't
Yeah.
recognize him.
And we got to see him fight a little bit. I was like, oh, he still got it.
Yeah, he's still winning that work.
That was stunt double.
And it's fine. But
Yeah.
he's doing some roundhouses and
I'm glad he still had the stiff neck. Like he didn't have the just like he had in the 90s.
oh, yeah, that was
89.
his suit. And that was his Batmobile.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was the ship. All that.
I was like, I'm glad. Now, that leads me to a question. Do we think that Barry was in a new world, or did Barry create the 1989 Batman world?
Man, I mean, you started getting on that path.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't gonna never be off of it.
I think he's in the real world, but I honestly, if you made a solid argument he wasn't, I'd be like, all right, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even mess with time travel like that.
Because, I mean, we have the 1989 Batman, and one could argue that this is just the future of that same universe.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
so that would mean that Barry technically created it, and we, retroactively saw what happened before that. But
yeah,
it could also be, argued that Barry just created a brand new universe, and this is what happened, because it sounds like it sounds like a situation where it's not that new branches are created like in the MCU. It sounds like all these worlds like already exist and you can just kind of end up in one.
Yeah.
Because I remember him saying, like, if you create an event, like, you've now changed the past and the future, not just it's a whole new future. You've changed the past too. So
yeah, because in the Flashpoint story, Barry's memories start collapsing on themselves and into his head because he's in a world where different stuff happened. So the things that happened to Barry in that universe start to penetrate into his mind because that's reality.
Yeah.
Going back to your question, Spencer, this is a new reality because they had completely different characters playing in Back to the Future. So like, he couldn't have, he had to change it and not just going back into 89.
Okay, yeah.
Even with 89, it would still be Michael J. Fox playing So then,
this was that answers the question. This was
a funny bit too.
That was funny because I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
They keep naming. But evidently that guy was in Back to the Future. He just wasn't Marty.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then it kept going because I was like, oh, you mean the guy from Dirty Dancing or Footloose or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like
the gay guys on the jets. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
was funny.
This is going to keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. Now, y'all know there's always something I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. And I have one. You knew I would because I always do. She spent her entire life in a Russian prison. Why did she know English?
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about the Serbian thing. I didn't think about that until you brought it up in your explanation. And I was like, Well, I will say, don't all Kryptonians know English?
No.
When they hit the planet? Because Zod did.
I thought
Zod was
using some kind of translator of some kind. But I think that on Krypton, they had their own language, and I think they spoke English for us. Like, they spoke English just so we would know what they were saying, but I don't... On Krypton, they probably weren't speaking English. Just like in Asgard, they probably don't speak English, but they do that for us. So
maybe I feel like because I've seen people do that, but then they have an explanation for them doing it.
What happened? Yeah. Did y'all watch Superman Red Sun? Did y'all watch that one?
Yeah.
Yes, but give me 1 second.
Okay.
So I feel like in Man of Steel, when Zod sent that message, they showed it on TVs around the world, and it was
in all different languages.
It was in different languages everywhere it was showing.
Yeah.
So I think that Zod has some kind of something that translates what he's saying into English. And then the point at which he just knows English is for us. But
it's kind of tough because
her knowing English didn't make sense to me.
But I'm still saying, so what happened in Red Sun? I never did watch Red Sun. Superman hits Russia. Did he know English?
He grows up there.
Yeah, but he learns English because he has a Russian accent in that one.
Yeah.
So then she should have had a Russian accent in this one then.
But she shouldn't have known English, because Superman was, raised and taught and all that. He wasn't trapped in a thing. He was brought up and all that. So I mean, it was just by Russians. So him knowing English made sense because he lived a life and actually interacted with people. But
instead of being trapped in there.
Yeah, but with her, her knowing any words is one thing, but her knowing English makes no. Actually, never mind. Her knowing English, I guess, makes sense because she didn't come as a baby. She came as a teenager.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, when did she land? At what age did she land at?
Yeah, she came. She
was always later than Kal-El. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can say that's why she knows English.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But I did like just that callback to the, obviously changed it, but because we love that part in the animated movie, the going to get Kal-El.
And that's the thing. They fused a couple things into that one because they sprinkled in a little bit of Red Sun in that it happened in Russia. And in Flashpoint, we see Superman in a Red Sun room, just tiny and scrawny and malnourished.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we saw that. We saw, when she got into the sun, we watched nourishment into her body. Yeah. I really like that they did that.
Same. I thought, and like Jordan said, I thought that whole scene when she got up and started fighting, I thought that was done really well.
And I will say I was a little confused. Once she started fighting and then she was done and she passed out, I'm like, what? Why did she pass out?
I thought the same thing too. Maybe she just overexerted what she just had in her, but at the same time, it's well, she's in the sun, she's a super person.
Yeah,
the sun wouldn't happen.
Yeah, the sun is out. She should feel better than she's ever felt before.
I did wonder,
because when Superman was, learning how to fly and shit, when he was in a similar environment, he was in the ice, and the sun was out, so he was like, "Oh yeah, let's fucking go."
I did wonder, all right, if Superman just started beating up humans, bruh, it's blood everywhere.
And that's the thing. This was rated PG-13 because if she wasn't holding her shit back.
She was rocking dudes in their jaw.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, she's punching through people.
Yeah, these dudes' heads would pop off. She was, I don't know.
And
again, it was PG-13.
This whole Batman doesn't kill thing is ridiculous because we see Batman.
Batman kills people.
Dude, threw somebody out the car. The other dude got so scared he chose to jump out the car on the freeway. It ain't no way you don't get hit.
No, that warehouse fight. No, this Batman kills people.
Yeah,
and it's clear to me that this Batman is loosely based on the Year One and Dark Knight Returns Batman, and that Batman did not play around.
Yeah.
So I think that this Batman is pretty okay with murder because when in the warehouse when he hit that dude with that box,
oh yeah,
that man's dead. The dude who he landed on his stomach, dead. Batman was in there killing people. And
I did like the lasso of truth. That was fun.
That was funny.
I was like, why did Batman just randomly start saying that? And then he's like, yeah, lasso of truth. I was like, all right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was trying to get it off of him.
Yeah, I knew a bit was coming, but I was like, all right, are they gonna land this? Because they do that bit every time. Yeah, every time with Wonder Woman, but they landed it.
Yeah, it was funny. And again, that has a lot to do with Ben Affleck.
True. Exactly.
So are either of you disappointed that we did not see Henry Cavill, but we saw everything else?
So was that not a version?
Everything
was that not
that Henry Cavill?
Was that not him? They showed
it was him. It was just
you just didn't see his face.
It was footage of him, but it wasn't
a PS2 version.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah. They just used footage they already had as opposed to getting him for this.
Yeah, it's still disappointing not to see Henry Cavill Superman because I thought he looked great as Superman.
I think that I figured if Zod is actually in this movie, like Michael Shannon is in it. The lady who played Feora is in it. Yep. I was like, okay, so they're here. They have lines. They like speak directly to, like, this isn't footage from the last movie. Like, he's here. He's on set. So I was like, all right, cool. We'll probably at a minimum get just a splash of Henry Cavill. Like, maybe when Barry gets back, we'll have but yeah, like Henry Cavill was just not credited. And
I think
disappointed.
The relationship with DC was bad. Then it got a little bit better once Shazam came out, but that was like super late. Mm-hmm. And then this movie had already been done. So, I mean, it sounds like from what I heard, the Rock Henry Cavill thing was like an add-on right at the end. Like that was like we're good. All right, let's shoot this. And then add it as a trailer. So it sounds like when this movie was created, that Henry wasn't on the best of terms with DC. He's kind of like he is now. Like he's cool with DC, but they don't want to roll with him anymore.
Yeah.
And I figured because this movie was, because we knew that James Gunn had already, like, I guess, parted ways, but I figured since this movie took place in the universe where Henry Cavill was Superman, like we would see him, and I thought this would be the last time we saw him. I'll say that. And when we didn't see him at all, I was like, oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I'm kind of,
again,
I don't know.
We saw every version of Superman, even a version of Superman that never really happened.
That was, I will say, seeing all that was really cool.
Yeah, like, and I will say I'm glad that they put old Superman with old Supergirl, because that I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but it never did. And so the fact that we got to see them together, I was like, okay, I like that. I'm glad that happened.
CGI was a little rough, but I mean,
that was absolutely PS2 graphics. Like
I would say I didn't mind it because I know the guy's dead, so I didn't really mind it.
And that's what I figured. I figured they're doing it looks like that on purpose because they did not really get these people to show up and do it. Because whenever we walked out of the movie, Larry and I were talking about, like, how much do you, Ryan and I were talking about how much do you think they paid Nicolas Cage for his likeness?
Yeah, I know they had to.
Because, and I thought they probably didn't pay him at all. They probably just used footage in the archive, because that, like, he had a suit and, like, they were pretty ready to make that movie. Because there's footage of Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit, and there are pictures of it, and, like, they had something written up, and he was supposed to fight a giant spider, and, like, all that, like, in the, like, really late 90s, maybe early 2000s, like, that was supposed to happen.
Yeah. I bet you they had to give him something.
So I thought that footage was just already in the books, and it was just never released. Like how they made a whole Batgirl movie and just never put it out.
Right, yeah.
I thought it was one of those situations where they just had it and they were like, we got it.
Yeah.
So let's just throw it in there.
That was a good addition, seeing even the 66 Batman with that Joker, like, that was pretty good to see.
Adam West,
yeah.
I guess my biggest the dome again, the visuals of it. Okay, my only CG real issues.
Let's talk about that. All of it.
Yeah. So my only real CG issues were when they had both Barrys in the same place on the same screen at the same time. That CGI was a little rough. But the dome stuff it was interesting. I liked that part, visual. I liked it because the Superman or the Adam West or whoever could see that there was something occurring. There was a breaking in the timeline.
It's about to be an incursion, like in Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. That was cool. Again, I'm still confused on. I thought this was going to be the reset, a definitive, but
again, there are some unanswered questions here. For the world thing, and the, I guess, like marbles that were crashing into each other. So whenever the blue one and the green one like crashed into each other and started to like break apart, and then that like undid itself, I have questions about that.
Wait, didn't it undo itself because they killed the young Barry because the old Barry was causing it? But at the same time, wouldn't that universe have a Flash running backwards too, or no?
That's the thing. I am, I guess, confused as to how, I guess there's only one Flash causing this cascade of issues.
Yeah.
Because it was young Barry who kept going back and trying to redo it that was causing this to happen. But if he's already done it this many times, wouldn't the worlds have already been destroyed? Because the fact that Dark Barry exists means that young Barry's already done this.
Yeah.
So those worlds, it's time travel nonsense.
And that's my issue. If I was James Gunn, I mean, again, this movie was done before James Gunn.
I'm saying, James Gunn didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, I know, but this was done before James Gunn got involved. However, if I was James Gunn, before this movie got put out, I'd be like, whoa. What we're not going to do is create more questions than answers. What we're not going to do is make my universe have to answer some questions that y'all are creating.
He got one big question with this ending of this movie.
Because the worlds colliding and then going back to that's 1,000 questions in of itself. Like what, and then us having a lot of the same characters, but then having some random characters. Like, is George Clooney Batman? Absolutely not. We know that. But you just created a question now that we're like, question. Yeah, like he's not. Like that's the last time he'll ever show up in DC again. However, you've created a new question that people have to answer.
They should have made that Patterson.
So my thought on that is James Gunn figures this universe will die, and it will just, I don't care about it. It's not mine. I have nothing to do with it. So my assumption was that James Gunn said, y'all can do whatever the fuck you want because it doesn't matter.
But it does matter.
That's the thing. Well, it sounds like it doesn't, but
I remember. I know what you're talking about, Spencer. Because he said that basically every DC thing is like its own universe, and so this universe exists. So James Gunn is building a whole new universe. So even they said,
but there's not video games. He's not
with the video games and the cartoons, like they all exist in their own little multiverse. And James Gunn,
Aquaman is a part of the universe.
Yeah, part of universe A, but in James Gunn's universe B,
Aquaman is still part of the universe
because
Aquaman is coming out before
a different version of it, though.
I think that Aquaman, the new Aquaman movie, I think is what comes out after Blue Beetle comes out, right? And it's Jason Momoa as Aquaman,
right? That's my point. It's like Jason Momoa is a part of the new world. Like,
I mean, they should just recast everybody if that's what they're gonna do.
That's my point.
That's why there are questions.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you have to have a definitive end. You cannot have us walking out. That end credit scene was useless. That was pointless. That was stupid. That was a waste of time. And then to not answer any questions, now we go into this new universe we want to be excited about, but we're like, what the fuck is what is going on? And again, it's not James Gunn's fault, but it's like, if I'm James Gunn, I'm like, well, we're not putting this out until we have an answer. Like, we're not doing that. You're not about to mess up what I'm doing because y'all don't know what y'all doing.
And it may be a situation where he plans to answer it later in his own movies. Yeah. Because once he has control and once he is able to, actually write stuff the way he wants to, he might retroactively answer some stuff. But again, my initial thought was James Gunn said, that ain't got nothing to do with me, and it's going to end anyway. So I don't care what happens because that's not going to matter with my stuff. But I was under the same impression, I guess, because Flashpoint is the event that created the New 52. We were led to believe that this was the movie that was going to kick off James Gunn's universe.
Right.
And it's very clear that that either didn't happen or only is kind of happening, but
I think
it feels like
it's happening. Yeah, it's happening, but it's it's the Jason Momoa is in this universe. If we're starting a new universe, we need to have a breaking point. And I agree with you. It's going to be the New 52 technique. It's going to be like basically what happened with the New 52 with the Flashpoint resetting everything.
Let's explain. Hang on. Explain what the New 52 is to people who don't know, because we've already mentioned a couple times.
So whenever DC likes to reset itself every so often, and
Marvel does too.
And they use the Flash to do it oftentimes because of time travel nonsense.
Right.
So Flashpoint is what started the New 52, which was the comic book run and like the official canon main universe version of all of the people that we know from like 2013 to
I think it was like maybe 2018, 2019.
Yeah,
they rebooted it again.
Yeah, like not quite 2020, but yeah. So the New 52 just refers to a section of time when the DC universe, or refers to a specific version of the main continuity of DC comic books. And Flashpoint is the thing that got us out of the previous version, which I think was called Rebirth, but don't quote that.
That's right.
Yeah, so it got us out of Rebirth into the New 52. So
I think it was 52 then Rebirth. Because before that, I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Was Crisis right before New 52?
Crisis was really old though at that point. I thought it was New 52.
I think it's been done a few times.
Yeah, like Crisis has happened yeah,
that's like an event. That's kind of like not Infinity War, but you know what I mean? Like Secret Invasion, it's an event that happens all the time.
Yeah. But the New 52, again, was a specific point of main continuity with the DC universe, where stories of people and origins and all that had been like lightly shifted, and there were stories that were told in that period. So depending on when you got into comic books, the New 52 is like what you know. So in DC Animation with Spencer and Friends, we will be discussing the movies that take place in the same universe, and that's going to be a New 52 section.
So the New 52 was from 2011, but before that, it was Crisis from 1985 to 2011. Then after that, the Flashpoint happened, then Rebirth happened in 2016.
Okay.
And then there is something after 2016. I forgot what they called it, though.
Yeah, they've rebooted it several times since.
Marvel, too. But
New 52 is kind of the, like, mainstream. Like Spencer said, like, even in the DC version, they do
the main continuity.
Yeah, they do Flashpoint, then they do even another event that kind of reiterates Flashpoint. So, I think that's kind of what they're going to do. I believe in James Gunn. I believe I think he's going to explain what this new thing is. I just think you missed an opportunity with the Flash to kind of, because like Flash is a tool, the reason we are having a new universe. So we should explain at the end of Flash why there is a new universe. You don't want to have to explain that with like an Aquaman or Superman. You know what I mean? You just want those to be those people's stories.
So I thought at the end, instead of George Clooney, they could have did Patterson, and that would have been kind of cooler. Because I mean, I still haven't seen the Batman, but from what I'm saying, like a lot of people liked Robert Pattinson as Batman.
They would have had to make him a lot older.
He doesn't want to be in the universe.
If they rebooted he changed the timeline basically. So I mean, even if you made him younger, it still could have made sense.
It could have. I think age-wise, but he's going to be Elseworlds. The Batman is Elseworlds. Because Reeves and Pattinson don't want to be in like a connected universe.
And then also with the end credit scene, I'm not gonna lie, I was lost, but I thought that Jason Momoa was about to be like, who's Aquaman? Like I never heard of him. And I thought they were gonna like announce, Jason Momoa as being like a different character or something. That's what I
It
thought was
doesn't.
gonna happen. And then that happened. I was like, I don't even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, James Gunn said he's never gonna do the whole like one one actor plays two different characters.
Yeah.
I know that was like the rumor of him playing Lobo, but yeah, I was kind of lost. Like the dialogue was kind of, I don't know, it wasn't clear.
Yeah, I was like, I had to wait on this. I was like, that was
Well, and
wild.
I was under the impression that eventually Jason Momoa will not be Aquaman, and mainly because he's not using, like, I thought that he was doing a whole recast where nobody, like, only people that were going to keep their parts were probably Amanda Waller and John Cena. But I
Yeah.
figured like everybody else was getting, like, as far as the Justice League goes, I figured everybody was getting recast.
Yeah,
And that would then open up Lobo for Momoa to play. But again, they need to listen to me and just cast Roman Reigns as Lobo.
yeah.
I don't think they're going to, but
Would
I've
have been
already.
funnier if in that last scene, that last end credit, if Flash was telling him about like a blonde hair, blue eyed Aquaman, and he was kind of lame. I thought that would have been better. Like telling him
Yeah.
about this other Aquaman that he saw, like the old Justice League one, or just a Super Friends one. That would have
Yeah.
been funnier to like hear him describe that.
It's funny. I low key thought he was gonna drown. He was gonna die.
I did too.
I thought he was gonna just drown right there and be like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, I'm interested, and I think it could be a thing where, like, in a new universe, not everybody's gonna be different. You might have an instance where 1 out of 10 people is the same, looks the same as they did before. If a universe changed or something like that. So like Amanda Waller, like you said, John Cena, Jason Momoa, and then pretty much everybody else is going to change. I mean, I'm okay with it, but you just got to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I figured if they don't want to use this person to be the Flash, then they just put in Wally, and that's the end of that. Like,
Yeah.
I figure that's the easy way to get Ezra out, is to say, in this universe, it's Wally who's Flash and not Barry, and then conversation's over.
Okay, so now that you mentioned Ezra been out, have we heard anything about that yet? Like, is he out? Is he on press runs right now too? Like, is he
I think he
doing
did
press runs for the
one.
movie?
So he was at the premiere and he was there for like 10 seconds. What, they?
What do you mean?
Ezra is a they.
Oh, that nigga was at the that nigga was at the premiere for like 10 seconds and then he dipped. But it's mainly been, Supergirl and then Michael Keaton, Iris.
I'm real curious to see if he does anything like that.
I think they're gonna wait to see how much money it makes and then decide.
Oh, well, I looked it up as we've been talking, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of flopping like LeBron right now. It's
I don't think
not
it's
looking so good.
No,
well,
it's
they
number
project
one, ain't it?
I just read that they projected it to make 70 million this weekend, and so far it's only made 55.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, like it's
For
not
a
a
superhero movie in 2023.
bro. That's the most fatigue it's ever been.
Now I will say, this movie got a lot of hype. Like it was hyped up a lot, and it did not meet that hype in my professional opinion.
Oh, facts.
But
it was still good though.
Wasn't trash, and we've seen some trash.
Oh, across the Spider-Verse.
Stop it! No, you crazy. I've been seeing like critics and everything saying like this is the best thing that ever happened to DC, or this is the best movie ever. I'm like, it was good. I think Wonder Woman is still better.
This is not even the best DC movie.
Oh, this is a good segue to this or that. All right, let me find some DC movies. Do we think this is better than the Suicide Squad, the newest Suicide Squad?
No.
Do we think
now the
this
new
is
Suicide Squad had some? There were some things in there like
Yeah.
the CGI, but I mean I get it. But I was far more entertained by the Suicide Squad than this. But this again wasn't bad. But I'd rather watch that new Suicide Squad movie.
okay? Birds of Prey.
This is better
I
than
didn't
that.
see. I didn't see it.
Um, I think this is slightly better. I think the Suicide Squad is better. I think this is better than Birds of Prey a little bit. Shazam.
The first one?
Yeah, first one, sorry.
Yeah, I knew that was coming up.
I think it's better.
I think I'm gonna pick this over that. Like this is better than Shazam. Shazam is also pretty good though.
I agree. This is better. Aquaman.
That's tough, actually.
I need to see Aquaman again.
I
give an
agree.
official-
I've only seen it once. That's a tough one.
I remember thinking Aquaman was pretty good.
Same. That deep scene was nice.
I'm gonna give
Or the trench,
Aquaman a
my bad.
nod on this.
I wanna say I think Aquaman was better, but I'd need to see it again for that to be on the record.
Yeah, like I feel like I would probably off the top of the dome again. I've seen Aquaman twice, I believe. I'd probably give Aquaman 7.5, 8. Okay, Wonder Woman obviously it's not better than Wonder Woman. Man of Steel.
Man of Steel's better.
Ooh.
That's just me. I know that there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who don't fuck with Man of Steel, but y'all know I love Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And Zod had the fucking lines in that movie. Oh, Zod was.
I think I saw this movie.
Man of Steel is it FX? It's one of them classics. It's on TV all.
Oh yeah. That thing on FX all the time. Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Like at minimum twice a week.
Exactly. Like I can catch that movie. I've catch that movie. I pretty much have caught that movie at every scene. No matter of the okay. What about, is this movie better than Batman Begins?
That's a completely different feel for me.
I mean, all of them gonna be different.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I'd rather watch this.
Ooh, I agree with you.
I would say me too. It's been a while since I've seen Batman Begins anyway.
Batman Begins is yeah.
And maybe the problem is the Dark Knight, but and like how good it is, but Batman Begins is just it's not bad.
Right.
It's not gonna be my idea to go watch it.
Right.
Yeah. Also, this movie cost $200 million to make, and it's only made 55 so far. So they got a lot of catching up to do.
But I wonder if they. I bet you they ain't got international, overseas money yet included in that. I know the Chinese and like Japan and like all them other big countries. I know they're gonna eat this up.
I mean, it depends if they're gonna cancel Ezra Miller or not.
Yeah, the
only canceling that nigga over there.
The only thing is, because Ezra Miller goes by they them. I don't know how other countries respond to that.
That's true.
Certain other countries.
Yeah. They probably don't even know what that even means. They, them. What does that mean? All right. Big question here. Is it better than Black Adam?
Yes.
Oh, by far. That was a layup by far.
All right.
What you think? You think so?
No, I think it's a wash. I think Black Adam is hot garbage. But yeah. Again, this movie's a 7, so I mean,
I'm happy you just said that. Was a nice segue. I was literally about to say, has our rating changed?
Spencer, you said 7.5. Oh wait, Jordan, you said 7.5.
Yeah, both of y'all said 7. I said 7.5.
You know, based off the Batman scenes, I'm thinking about bumping it up a bit. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'll go 7.5.
Jordan, what about you?
I'm staying. I'm sticking by my 7.5. That's my man. I'm sticking by.
Okay. My mind has not changed. It's still a 7.
Gotcha. I will officially document this, folks, and we will keep it on the record. That way we are held accountable for any wild ratings in the future.
And let me just throw this out there too. Anybody who's a loyal listener who just loves us, if you would like to go back into the beginning of 2023 and let us know our ratings on each of the movies and let us know what we rated it, that would be amazing. That would be fantastic. We want
greatly
to
appreciate it.
Yeah, we want to get all the ratings for each of the movies we've done so far in 2023. That way, at the end of the year, we can talk about it, see what our feelings are. Maybe we feel a little better, a little better about it. Maybe we didn't.
Because I really wonder, Spencer, do you remember what you rated Love and Thunder?
Probably pretty high.
Like, I want to say it was high. Yeah, I want to say it was an 8.
That's way too high.
You still feel that way?
I had a good time, but
okay,
8 is far too generous.
Okay.
I have no problem admitting that, and that's assuming it was an 8. But
I want to say it was up there.
Yeah, like that 8 feels right. But I had a good time, but an 8 is very generous. What I really know that I ranked far too generously was Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah,
I know I was way too generous on that one.
Yeah, I like to hear that one again because
honestly, this is why we need this data so we can go back.
Spencer, the first when I thought about we need to document this. The first thing I thought of was Spencer Love and Thunder. I was like, I feel like he rated it really high, and I wonder how he feels about it now. So
again, I had a good time, but and we'll see what I did rate it, but if you're asking me this or Love and Thunder, I'm picking this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that means it's
below a 7.
Love and Thunder might come down a lot of points.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if it came to a 6.5, that's a lot.
It's still I don't remember. Somebody can listen back and let us know, but that is the one that came to mind for me was Doctor Strange Multiverse.
Yeah, I feel like you liked it more. I feel like you liked it more than both of us, but I don't know.
Like out the door, I really liked it, but after like a week, I was like, no. Well, there were some things there that were problematic and an issue, and that make no sense. And
Jordan,
that's the thing. It took seeing other things for me to realize that about Multiverse.
Yeah, that's true. That happens a lot. Jordan, I feel like you haven't had a wow one yet.
No, man.
That I can remember.
Call it how I see it, man. I mean, a 10 out of 10 for across the Spider-Verse, that's not changing.
Yeah, that was a little cap. That was cap, but it's fine. Yeah, we'll document this.
So you and your cap.
And then at the end of the year, or a few months, however long we want to do it, we'll go back and have similar discussion where we will discuss, anything we think was overrated, underrated, or just fine.
Yeah. You guys ready for Rotten Tomatoes?
No,
yes, sir.
We do that.
And what's crazy is I had it before we started recording. I pulled it up and I just refreshed it, and some of these numbers have changed, which I did not think that would happen, but it changed.
It's a lot of votes to change those too.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you guys had a tie last time, so I will just give it to Spencer. Start us off. If this could be your first episode, it's always somebody's first episode, but I have the Rotten Tomato scores right in front of me, the audience and the critic score, and Spencer and Brandon will try to guess what the scores are, and we are doing the closest to the bucket without going over. So, Spencer, what do you think the critic score is?
Since I gave this movie, well, I can't use my own opinion as a barometer, but I think the critics liked it less than me, but more than Transformers. So I will say, I feel like Transformers was a 50 something, like low 50s, high 40s. So I'm thinking low 60s. I'm gonna say 64.
Okay. Brandon, what about you?
This one is critics.
Yes.
Okay. Critics. I can see them and critics. Boy, they hate them some Ezra Miller, so they gonna bomb this thing. I'm gonna go. What'd you say, Spencer?
64.
I'm gonna go. We'll go 58.
Okay.
It's a little low, but
And I'll reveal what the original scores was when I first got to it, after y'all finish it. But with 291 total reviews as of this recording, the Rotten Tomatoes score for The Flash is sitting at 66, which means Spencer is the closest.
damn.
Okay.
Yeah. I realized that was going to be low too. I knew that was going to be low. All right, Spencer, since you won that round, we'll let you start off again. What do you think the audience score is?
I mean, it sounds like people have been raving about this movie. So I'll go 86.
Okay, locked in 86, Brandon.
This movie has a lot of nostalgia. Gives you a little bit of time travel. Gives you some good jokes. I feel like that usually ends up in the high. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say a 91.
Okay. With 2,500 plus reviews, I'll let you guys both know that you guys both failed. You guys went over the score, but Spencer was still the closest. The score is sitting at an 85% as of this recording.
God damn it. I was
Damn.
almost there.
But I want to say, when I first pulled it up, the critic score was 67 instead of 66, and the audience score was 86 instead of 85.
So I was right earlier
refreshed-
today.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have refreshed, you would have been good.
It's trending down. That's not good.
It's not good.
That's crazy. But Brandon, you said something. I thought the audience score would be lower. Like, I thought the audience would be review bombing it because of Ezra.
Nah, them critics stay on the high horse. It was even critics saying they will not review this movie, but due to Ezra Miller being the star. So the moral police.
Yeah, I will say so. Like, with Rotten Tomatoes, I can look at some of the critics like comments, and I've just been scrolling through the comments. Everybody's praising Keaton, but there are some comments about Ezra.
Yeah,
And I think, maybe this is why I'm not a critic, but I watched this separating the art from the individual,
which I think you should as a critic.
I was gonna say I don't think that person's life outside of the film should hold any weight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if the person's out here on a murder spree and then just is the movie star at the same time, I'd be like, okay, I can understand. I mean, is this?
It sucks, but House of Cards is still a good show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to. If I am a critic, I can go on my social media, talk shit about Ezra Miller, but if I see the movie, I can talk about the movie and movie alone. Like, it should be that's just being a professional.
The portrayal of the characters in the film and all of that. But I don't like that Ezra's personal life is being used against the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Against the movie, exactly.
Because those two things, in my opinion, should be unrelated.
And like you said, that's not the woman who plays Supergirl's fault. That's not, Michael Keaton's fault. You shouldn't bomb the movie, affect all these other staff, everyone who ever created this movie just due to one person's actions. It's not fair.
I'll be honest. I feel like a hypocrite because I don't really fuck with R. Kelly like that no more. For everything he did.
No, and see, that's a little different. I will say there are, because I was talking to someone about this the other day. I can separate the two if I'm not reminded of what happened. So for me, for example, I can listen to I Believe I Can Fly, and I'm not bothered. But I cannot listen to Bump and Grind.
I knew it was coming.
Like, I can't. Like,
yeah,
if Bump and Grind comes on, I am uncomfortable now.
I agree.
Any song he start talking about sex, I'm like, yeah, this is
Stuck
with our
I'm not doing that. If he had a song with Aaliyah, I can't listen to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I don't know. I don't seek out R. Kelly. I never really ever did seek out R. Kelly music. It was just in front of you because it was so popular. But yeah, I mean, I understand like there's some hypocritical stuff across of it, but in this particular situation, yeah, I'm not.
I can do it for this particular situation.
Yeah, and it's way more people involved with this than just like one person making a song.
And that's the thing, like music and movies and shows can be different because, I mean, like, for example, The Cosby Show is still a really good show.
Slaps.
And I love Dr. Huxtable.
Yeah.
But William Cosby, not a great dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't liked Bill Cosby for a while because he has a lot of anti-black talking points.
Yeah, he does.
But that's a story for another day.
I want to say my first crush may have been Claire Huxtable, but I may be wrong. I don't remember.
And Mrs. Huxtable, I feel like most people that were our age at the time liked Denise.
Mine was Fancy from Martin. I mean, not Martin.
Jamie Foxx show?
Jamie Foxx, yeah.
Yeah, mine was Claire.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, anything else about The Flash we want to talk about?
I am happy that I believe Grant Morrison was involved in like the initial like creation of this movie. I don't think he's like writer credit or anything. I am interested if he gets any credit, like as a producer or anything. But I'm pretty sure Grant Morrison, who is the creator of many classic Flash comics.
That Grant Morrison. What's the name of the dude who plays? Ain't the dude named Grant who's also in the Flash TV show? Who plays the Flash in the TV show?
His name is Grant. I think
that's when I wasn't even thinking Grant Morrison, the comic book writer, when you said I was thinking about that guy. And I was like, what? I was like, what does he have to do with this?
Yeah, I think his first name is Grant, but it's not Morrison.
Oh yeah, Grant Gustin. Okay. Yeah. Grant Morrison, great writer.
Yeah.
I will be reviewing the animated film that pulls from this same comic book story, I believe in September. And it's one of my favorites. So you're going to want to tune in to that episode. I will compare that movie to this one.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I don't think my number will change too much.
Animation agenda, I like it.
But it might change a little bit. We're gonna see what happens. But it should probably be fine. I'm sticking with my 7 for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else? People let us know what you thought about The Flash. And I feel like we need to start posting, after 2 weeks happen, let's start getting people ideas on the movie in general.
I agree.
I feel like we'd be forgetting about that. But yeah, let us know what you thought about the Flash movie. Did you enjoy it? Did you like Ezra Miller's performance as the Flash? Did you like Michael Keaton? Be sure and let us know, like in our Facebook group. Hit us up in there. You can also interact with other people and see what other people's thoughts on the movie are. So, yeah, we'll never duplicate it.
Always appreciate it.
And forever melanated.